Hello, I'm standing here in Dondo near Beira, Mozambique, and here we had a tropical cyclone recently, and that has of course caused quite a lot of havoc about 4 months ago, but we've recovered from that. And problem in a way with the soils here is that they are basically waterlogged most of the year. Even now, the groundwater level is very high, maybe a meter or a meter and a half. But during the rainy season, it could be as little as 30-40 centimeters. You just dig a small hole, like you can see here, and you have your water source. This is, of course, not quite so small a hole as would be needed, but quite a few fields dug out too much, and then erosion sets into the holes, and then the subsoil, as you can see here as well, the subsoil comes up and is not too good, really. It is a glaze soil. It has a relatively nice top layer with organic material, and then as you go down, you see the typical iron mottles from subsoil, which is subjected to flooding, thus reducing and oxidizing the iron, and it sort of stays in the soil with these characteristic mottles. On the long run, of course, one must be very careful when handling these soils so as not to erode the topsoil and then end up only with subsoil. Digging the holes brings up a lot of subsoil. Sometimes they also dig quite substantial drains, and then a lot of subsoil is being deposited on top, and that gets bone hard, I should say, almost like a rock, and that's definitely no good for crop production. On the long run, I think that boreholes would definitely be a better solution than digging holes for water. Let me just take a photo of this here. Stop the video for a moment. You can see one of those watering holes which we use for irrigation here of small orchards of vegetables. We have here cabbage, Chinese cabbage, we have beans in the background, and we have some maize and what is left of a previous okra plantation. So all of that is watered by can. Some larger fields, they add a pump to these holes and then pump the water up. Then the hole has to be quite a lot bigger than it is here, so as not to run dry. And overall, it can eat quite a bit of your land. As you can see here, the vegetables do grow very well on these soils. They're not so deeply rooted, so the waterlogging is not a big problem. And yeah, we do here, for example, this lettuce. It's very well indeed. And we just must be careful to keep the topsoil intact, add organic matter, and be sure that we do not bring up too much of the subsoil or lose the topsoil. Here you can see how we prepare the raised beds. We raise the beds off the ground, so it's easy to walk in between the beds, and also easy to plant 3 rows of vegetables within the beds, and at the same time keep it a bit off the ground if the water level rises too much. Here you can see as well. Here we grow beans, for example. These are student fields, Some are used commercially, but also we use quite a few of these fields for students to practice and then to learn about agriculture, sometimes in conjunction with an entrepreneurial farmer who rents some of the land and then plants it and teaches the student practical skills while selling the produce. So here we have green beans at a bit of an advanced stage. I'm standing here on a very rich soil, a very nice dark field, and right next to it you see the remnants of the heap here of a watering hole, and that material, a little bit here in the back, you can see how it has been plowed into the field. And let's go there. Here you can see this watering hole. It's fairly dried up now, but a lot of that subsoil has been deposited here in the field, and it's messing up really the good soil we have here. Here you can see a close-up of that patch. You can see it is fairly greyish white. Here you can see a large field just behind it. We've just plowed that area, and now instead of watering holes we have put an irrigation pipe here, which comes from further away where we have a tank, and we pump that water out of a borehole. Here we have dug a trench where the pipe will be put or be laid in. It's not too deep, just enough so as not to get damaged by a disc plow or disc harrow, and I recommend it here to only work the fields shallowly with discs, and also not to dig too deep, and try and maintain things more or less as they were before after filling in this trench. Here you can see a little lake which we have on the farm, and a canal has been dug here, and previously this rather huge hole has been dug here, and to collect water and pump it to the field next to it, which is sort of a vegetable field. And the vegetable field is watered by pump or sometimes also by can. You can see this large hole has already dried out quite a bit because we pumped so much water out of it. And you can see the edges of the drain, like here you can see where the subsoil has come up, or here you can see this as well. Now let's go to a field which has already been damaged by this practice in the past. Well, here you see a field of Phaseolus vulgaris beans, and they're not doing too well, particularly in those areas where you can see a lot of subsoil has been deposited on the field or brought up on the field. That is because there were watering holes there before, and also because here we have a drain, see, and a lot of the subsoil from the drain has been deposited at the edges, and eventually then a lot of it has been plowed, and now you see a lot of sandy, relatively bad subsoil, and the field is kind of not in too good of a shape. It would need a lot of organic material to make this function well again. Here we have another field freshly prepared, and you can see some parts of the field sort of greyish and sandy looking, and that's where a water hole has been in the past, and a lot of that sand has been deposited here in the field. doubt that we will get good growth on those patches which have been, well, I should say, contaminated by subsoil. Here we have a large tomato field which is being watered by hosepipe and sprinkler, and or just by hosepipe, and those have just been transplanted, those tomatoes, and some parts of the field you can see rich organic black soil, and other parts further away they have subsoils on top. Here is another maize field which has been grown on very bad soil without fertilizer, and the students here are just harvesting what's left of the maize, which is as good as nothing. You can see how poor it has grown, and we just feed that to the cows now because it's not worth keeping. You can see what bad soil can do to a maize plantation. Yeah, here we have an alternative, a proper well which was dug here, and which is fairly deep, and as you can see there's quite a lot of water, and we can use that to